The purpose of this video is to provide an example of how to get an actual PLC to do a direct SQL query to a database. And this is a very, very niche area, but it's something that's extremely handy. Most of the time, data comes out of PLCs through direct tags, through drivers or OPC tags themselves. But this particular feature in an S7-1500 is unbelievably useful, to say the least, when it comes to integration. So I'll just kind of jump down through it. In the S7-1500, there is effectively a fairly modern and new mechanism there, or library, which basically allows for an actual command to be sent, and anyone who's kind of familiar with this will understand kind of what I'm talking about. You basically have like update commands, insert commands, etc. And I'm online at the moment, and where this becomes kind of useful, previously what I did was I showed a kind of a Wi-Fi loop, and often you can have, say for example, something like, say, a TOC analyzer directly in, and it can even be sold as being like a kind of a process analytical technology project. And essentially, you might have, say, some kind of a system. Here is like a basic floor plan, and you basically have the system then supplying, the actual production system itself. Or you want to basically be able to talk to some kind of a system that's maybe in some kind of a server IO room, that's kind of like a LIM system or whichever else, right? And this isn't from the actual DCS. This is actually directly from the vendor package, the actual piece of equipment, right? So what I want to do is just kind of cover kind of how that works. And what I'll do is I'll just kind of show, just as a refresh, this is the kind of like a pretend limbs table that I kind of had the last day, right, where basically you just have conductivity, TOC, bioburden, you know what I mean, and like a status that's there. And what we'll do is we'll get the PLC itself to write effectively to the database, not the actual HMI, which is often kind of like the norm, right? So essentially, anyway, I have this guy set up, and every time that a trigger is done, essentially just this is the logic up here, effectively an execution occurs, and then an actual SQL command goes off and does its thing, right? So you can see him up there. This is like, say, insert into, it's the name of the table. We have a number of then different, basically like column names, the headers going across, so you can see sample date, time, conductivity, etc. And then we have the actual values, which actually then essentially kind of go into him. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of trigger him there, then I'll turn him off. We'll go back to our SQL table in SQL Server Management Studio, and we can see that we got a new value in. What I'll do then is I will go live, and I'll go in here, and actually I'll just paste in the full query. Maybe I'll just change the bioburden down to 1. That's realistic. Well, you're hoping so. And basically I'll go off and trigger him again, and then effectively we'll go back to our database and we'll run another execute, and we'll see it there that we got a second query. So this is unbelievably handy, to say the very, very least, for me anyway, where you don't have to introduce yet another piece of middleware. You just effectively are providing the foundation for analysis, basically, kind of at a further point. So yeah, definitely it's very useful. Thank you very much.